Hello and welcome to Sports News Africa, the home of Africa's sporting conversation. Let's take a look at the stories making the headlines across the African continent. 2 athletic management agencies suspended by Kenya Athletics pending inquiries into doping. Nigeria booked their place at the All-Africa Games with a win over Zambia. Thank you for watching Sports News Africa. I'm Angela Agor. Athletics Kenya has suspended 2 management agencies pending a probe into their role in the doping scandal which has engulfed the sport in Kenya. One of the agencies, Rosie Associates, managed disgraced runner Rita Jeptoo, who was banned for 2 years earlier this year.
In what appears to be an attempt to rescue the country's image after a series of doping scandals, Athletics Kenya on Monday announced it has suspended 2 of the country's largest athlete management firms. Speaking at a press conference in Nairobi, Athletics Kenya President Isaiah Kiplagat announced the suspension of Rosa Association and Valore Sports for 6 months, paving the way for investigations.
This suspension, or in the normal Kenyan way now, stepping aside, will be for a period of 6 months. Then we'll decide. The 2 that we have today decided that we put them aside until the investigations are complete are the Rosa and Associates and the Gerald van der Veen.
The suspension of the 2 companies, one run by Italian Gabriela Rosa, the other by Dutchman Gerard van der Veen, could deal a blow to the many elite athletes under their stewardship. Athletics Kenya, however, said it would ensure that athletes would still be able to attend Diamond League and IAAF events.
We know the 2 that we are going to mention manage the highest number of elite athletes in this country. We will therefore, working with the IAAF and the meat promoters like the Diamond Leagues and so forth, to agree on the modalities of how we are going to manage these athletes so that they don't miss competition.
Doping allegations have been a thorn in Athletics Kenya's side since the beginning of the year, with positive returns on doping tests already claiming the careers of high-profile athletes managed by the 2 firms. The most famous case was that of 3 times Boston and 2 times Chicago marathon champion Rita Jeptoo of Rosa, who was banned for 2 years in January for the use of the steroid EPO. Also to be banned for 2 years is the 2011 World 200-meter champion Amantla Moncho from Botswana, also managed by Rosa.
To get a bit more perspective on the decision by Athletics Kenya, we're joined now by former IAAF Journalist of the Year, Elias Makori. Elias, the suspension of these 2 agencies comes amidst a spike in doping allegations among Kenya's athletes. Is this the tip of the iceberg?
Exactly. It's really a tip of the iceberg because the information that I get is a couple of weeks back, there was a team from the IAAF, that's the International Track and Field Body, who were in this part of Kenya, that's in the North Rift. And they carried out about 60 random doping tests on Kenyan athletes without the information or without the knowledge of Athletics Kenya. So it was kind of an undercover operation, if you like. And this indeed is just a tip of the iceberg. We are bound to see more heads rolling.
The suspension will come as a blow to several well-known athletes like Dennis Kimetto and Wilson Kipsang. Will they be getting nervous?
Most certainly, the timing couldn't have been worse for them because in just under 5 days, we have the Boston Marathon coming up on Monday next week. One of these agents, Gerard van der Veen, has 2 big athletes running in Boston. That's Franklin Chepkwony and Caroline Kilel, who won the title in Boston in 2011. And a week later, on 26th, of course, you have the big London Marathon, where you have the world record holder Dennis Kimetto, Geoffrey Mutai, and the former record holder Wilson Kipsang, all from the Gerard van der Veen stable. Gerard has been suspended. And I remains to see how the logistics, it is huge logistics getting these people into London. You're talking about air ticket, you're talking about nutrition, coaching, physiotherapy, the appearance fee, the allowances. So getting all this sorted out in 2 weeks for them to be in good shape for London, it's really a tough ask.
Another as yet unnamed Kenyan athlete has tested positive over the past week. Can we assume that this runner was managed by one of the two agencies and it proved the last straw?
Yeah, it's not really a big runner. She's a road runner. She's run a couple of half marathons, and she's managed here, like you rightly say, by one of these agents, that is Rosa. I personally spoke to Rosa, Gabriele Rosa, the founder of the stable, the Rosa Associati, and he says he's going to, fight to the bitter end. He's going to take legal action against Athletics Kenya for putting him out of business. So we're really going to see a murky, very dirty war coming up in the next few days.
Athletics Kenya President Isaiah Kiplagat is quitting in May to stand for the presidency of the IAAF. Is this the last chance for him to wrestle back Kenya's reputation before he departs?
It could be the last opportunity, but again, people are looking at it very skeptically because he says on one hand he's stepping aside for 3 months and that he'll be back, after contesting the IAAF vice presidency in Beijing in July. And then again, he's trying to say that he wants to hand over, the leadership to other people. So it's really kind of a constitutional quagmire, if you like, because nowhere in the provision of the Constitution of Athletics Kenya does it, provide for somebody stepping aside. The only provision is for outright resignation. And, people are seeing this as a strategy or a ruse to try and test the waters by Kiplagat so that if things cool down a bit, he can be back. But there's a group that is feverishly saying that he needs to go once and for all.
Elias, thank you for speaking to Sports News Africa. Welcome back to Sports News Africa. Nigeria are heading to the 11th All-Africa Games in Congo-Brazzaville in September after booking their place with a 2-1 win over Zambia in the second leg at the Heroes National Stadium in Lusaka. A brace by Flying Eagles forward Taiwo Awoniyi, either side of half-time, secured qualification after the first leg finished goalless in Abuja.
Nigeria's under-23 team booked their ticket to the All-Africa Games in Brazzaville by beating hosts Zambia 2-1 at the National Heroes Stadium in Lusaka. Taiwo Awoniyi scored both goals for the West Africans, with the first coming 11 minutes before half-time. Zambian fans had to wait until the 76th minute for Friday Samu to equalise. But the heartache came when Awoniyi netted again in the 86th minute, sending Nigeria through to the continental tournament.
We want to qualify for the All-African Games. It's been a very long time we actually qualified. We're preparing for the Olympic qualifiers too. But this one is going to help us prepare a little better because we'll continue playing friendly games.
Zambians felt their side should have tried to hold the Nigerians to a draw.
We scored a goal. What was supposed to be done now was to consolidate the defense so that we go for another goal. That means we would have changed the formation in terms of the midfield to contain them, not to come again to their backyard. But again, we slipped. And what happens, the Nigerians had another chance, or they did a counter and then the defender was beaten. Then the goalkeeper obviously was offline.
Zambian coach Phaeton Samakonda had been confident his side would go to Brazzaville after his team held the Nigerians to a draw in a goalless match in the first leg in Abuja.
We expected a win, but unfortunately, football is football and football is a game. So you don't put in your effort, you miss one chance, you're gone. But it was a good game. I think we've learned one or two things.
8 African sides will meet at the 11th edition of the All-Africa Games in September.
Here are the 8 teams that will contest the All-Africa Games Football Championship in Brazzaville. Congo are the hosts and therefore have automatic qualification. Nigeria's win over Zambia means they're through as well. Zimbabwe qualify at the expense of Cameroon after beating them 2-1 on aggregate. South Africa's 1-0 win over Sudan wasn't good enough, having lost the first leg 2-0. Egypt eased past Burundi with a comfortable 4-0 aggregate win. Other teams through to the tournament are Burkina Faso, Ghana, Senegal and Egypt. In the women's qualifiers, the indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon roared into the All-Africa Games tournament in Brazzaville after beating Ethiopia 2-1 in Yaoundé. Cameroon, the current holders of the title, came from behind to confirm their place with a 4-2 aggregate victory.
Cameroon's indomitable Lionesses treated their fans to some great football in their match against Ethiopia's Lucy in the return leg of their qualifiers match in Yaoundé over the weekend. The defending champions of the All-Africa Games staged a repeat of their first leg match last month in Addis Ababa, qualifying with an identical 2-1 goal margin and reaffirming their place at the top of African women's football. We are very happy because we have been waiting for this victory for long. It was difficult to go and play them on their turf. They dominated us, but we told ourselves that we must take revenge, so we just had to compete. Despite challenges in preparations for this year's games, the indomitable Lionesses remain determined to defend the gold medal they won at the 2011 All-Africa Games in Maputo. The Ethiopian team was strong. All teams presently are strong. What I always say in my interviews is that it's the details that determine these matches. Tonight, the Lionesses were physically ready. It was a tough match. Cameroonian fans commended the Lionesses' efforts, and some said they were switching to supporting the women's side rather than their men's side.
The ladies' team have surpassed the men's team because they have reached the Africa Cup finals. The men's team had gone nowhere, and this is why we are supporting the ladies' team.
The team will get a hugely valuable opportunity to play together at the top level of the game when they appear at the 2015 Women's World Cup in Canada in June.
So let's take a look then at the sides that will join the defending champions Cameroon and host Congo next September. Ivory Coast qualify after opponents Guinea-Bissau withdrew. Nigeria were the biggest winners with a resounding 8-0 win over Mali in Abuja, 9-1 on aggregate. Tanzania survived a 3-2 defeat to Zambia in the second leg to win 6-5 on aggregate. South Africa thrashed Botswana 5-0 in Johannesburg, 6-0 on aggregate. And Ghana completes the final 8 with a 4-3 aggregate win over Zimbabwe. Moving to West Africa now, and Ghana is in the process of selecting athletes for the All-African Games in Brazzaville too. Top Ghanaian athletes faced a wide range of competitors from across the country at the El Wak Stadium in Accra.
Gold medalist Martha Bisa took top spot in the 800-meter women's finals in Accra as the cream of Ghanaian athletics took on an open field. The one-day event, the first of 8 events planned to choose the national side, saw the Ghanaian junior Olympian clock 2 minutes 12 seconds at the El Wak Stadium. Osei Kofi John shattered local records with the 100-meter race time of 10 seconds. The young athlete said that he had his sights set at landing a scholarship abroad if his dreams of achieving international success were achieved.
Apart from the All-African Games, what is in my mind? I want to run a better time so that I can also get a chance to go to those who are in the front, like the university game, those who go scholarship university at American and other countries. My mind is in that space. I want to run a better time so that I can go and get them.
Local athletes are pushing for an improvement in training and facilities.
As an athlete, the way we train is very bad. For getting transportation from where you stay to the stadium is not easy. In and out, in and out. Maybe sometimes you not get the money, so you can't come to training.
The Ghana Athletics Association said similar events would improve the country's international showing.
We have a series of 8 competitions nationwide this year. This is one of them that is supposed to afford the athletes the opportunity to qualify for any of the international championships and also prepare those that are help those who are preparing to actually sharpen their skills before the actual games.
Martha Bisa and Osei Kofi John will be 2 Ghanaians to watch at the games scheduled to be held in Brazzaville, Congo between the 4th and 19th of September this year.
here's a quick look at the upcoming fixtures for UEFA's Champions League competition. That game between Atletico and the current cup holders Real Madrid kicks off at 19:45 GMT at the Vicente Calderón Stadium. The second quarter-final clash sees Juventus play host to Monaco. Then on Wednesday, FC Porto at home to Bayern Munich, while Barcelona travel to Paris Saint-Germain. Let's see how that result affects the Premier League table. That win sees Liverpool leapfrog Southampton into 5th, just 4 points behind Manchester City, with 6 games remaining. Newcastle United stay in 13th and could be dragged into a relegation scrap, having now lost 5 games in a row and 6 in the last 7. And finally, former Ghana captain Stephen Appiah is to be given a testimonial match in Accra in June to celebrate his glittering career following his retirement early this year. The testimonial match will be a fitting tribute to Appiah, who played 67 times for the Black Stars, scoring 14 goals.
Stephen Leroy Tornado Appiah, former captain of Ghana's Black Stars, on Monday, April 13th, made the announcement of his final retirement match in the Ghanaian capital, Accra. The testimonial match is set for Saturday, June 27th at the 50,000-seat Accra Sports Stadium. The 35-year-old midfielder started his football career with the former Continental Club champions Accra Hearts of Oak in 1995, before playing for Udinese, Parma, Brescia, Juventus, Fanabehes, Bologna, Cesena and Vojvodina. During a ceremony at the Accra International Conference Center, Appiah expressed his gratitude to Ghanaians for supporting him throughout his career.
Few months back, precisely on 14th January 2015, I officially announced through a press release my retirement from my passion. A passion I have known all my life, one that has shaped my life because of the way it started with me and the way it is ending with me. A passion that took me to places and introduced me to many people across the globe. Again, a passion that won me many laurels, of which the most important still remains you and the many others cherished fans, both Ghana and the world over.
With nearly 2 decades on the football pitch, Appiah leaves behind a huge legacy.
For us, it was an honor and privilege to have worked with you, and we will live with the memories of all the attributes that you showed as a leader on and off the field of play. Your trails as captain of the Black Stars will continue to become indelible in the sands of history of the Black Stars.
Appiah has also garnered the respect not only of fans, but of ordinary Ghanaians for his ability to balance his lifestyle rather than allowing his fame to go to his head.
There's life on the pitch and life off the pitch. Appiah has been able to combine this off the pitch and the on the pitch, lifestyle very, very well. It's worth emulating so far as the young ones are concerned. He excelled on the pitch. And now I am saying that Stephen Appiah, all that you have given to Ghanaians and all that you have given to the world, the young ones still require a lot from you. So please, do not bow out of the game. Keep your passion, let the young ones learn from you, and pick all the wonderful things that you have done. Stephen Appiah has been a great person, and we adore him for that.
Appiah first played for Ghana as a teenager and was one of a handful of players to play for the all youth teams as well as the senior team.
And that's the end of Sports News Africa for today. Join us again tomorrow when we will bring you all the latest from Africa and around the world. Bye for now.